Let's have a look at another exam question to do with bearings. A plane takes off and flies to a bearing of 060 degrees and flies for 120 kilometers. The pilot then changes direction to 130 degrees and flies for another 100 kilometers. And we're asked, how far is the plane from the airport and on what bearing would the plane fly to return to the airport? So we're going to draw an accurate scale drawing to be able to find out the answer to this question. So before we do that, we're going to need to decide what scale we're going to use. Our distances are 120 kilometers and 100 kilometers. So I'm going to use a scale of 1 centimeter on my diagram is equivalent to 10 kilometers in real life. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to mark on my airport wherever my plane takes off from. And he takes off and he's going to fly on a bearing of 060 degrees. So I'm going to mark in north. I'll get my protractor and I'm measuring zeros north, so I'm going to put my protractor down like that. 0 is at north and I'm measuring 60 degrees. So that's the direction I'm going to go in. I'm going to go in that direction for 120 kilometers. So if 1 centimeter is 10 kilometers, well 120 kilometers times that by 12, so that's going to be 12 centimeters. I'm going to draw 12 centimeters on here. 12 centimeters, which is 120 kilometers. Now, at this point, the pilot changes direction. He changes direction to be on a bearing of 130 degrees. So I'm going to need to do exactly what I've done before. So I'm going to mark in north. Oops. Mark in north going straight up. I'll get my protractor and I'll put 0 as north and I'm measuring 130 degrees. So I'll be down here. So 130 degrees, be somewhere there. So I need to go for 100 kilometers. So 1 centimeter is 10 kilometers. So 100 kilometers, well, that's 10 times bigger than 10. So that's going to be 10 centimeters. So I'm going to draw this 10 centimeters. Draw that on there. Okay. So there's 10 centimeters on my diagram, and that's 100 kilometers. So my question is, how far is the plane now from the airport? So this is where he is now. That's where he is now. And how far is he from the airport? Well, if I measure that distance there is 18 centimeters. So 18 centimeters, that's the equivalent in our scale to 180 kilometers. So the answer to the first question is going to be 180 kilometers. And I asked him what bearing would he return, or would he fly to be able to return to the airport? Well, I get my protractor, and I see it's more than 180 degrees. So I mark in north again. And I want to measure this angle here. So it's 180 here. Let's get my protractor and put 0 at south and measure round. When I measure that, that's 90 degrees. So the bearing is 180 plus 90 degrees, which is 270 degrees. What bearing would be 270 degrees? See if you can reproduce that on paper and have a go at some of the examples.
Okay, Mary, so let's have a look at this one. So solve x plus 2x equals 12. So what do you think you do first?
Okay, well, I want x on its own, so I would put x equals 12 minus 2x.
Okay, so a lot of the time we want to get x by itself, but what we want to do first is get all of these x's together. So can you see anything we can do with this? Get all these together in one place.
Oh, okay, it's 3x, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
3x equals 12. Oh, and so x equals 4.
Brilliant, spot on, well done.